because the baby boomers are the richest, if you wealthiest generation, and they're transitioning wealth in the next several years. By 2045, $105 trillion is getting passed from one generation to the next. And it's slated that women will control about 70% of that.
Hello. This is Ginny Bolling here with the Best Ever Live Conference in Salt Lake City. This is conference number 10, and I have with me Liz Faircloth, the one and only Liz Faircloth.
Nice to see you, Ginny. Excited to be here with you.
I am so excited because there's, many reasons. This is my first Best Ever, and you have been out and leading several groups for a number of years, and I have never really followed the women's groups much. I've been in real estate over 40 years. It's always been mainly men, and I never really leaned into leading women. But I am now part of the local RIA.
Great.
Well, I've been part of our local RIA in Orlando for 2017. I finally joined and was the last couple years on the board and leading the Women in Real Estate group. And so
love it.
I'm realizing just how much value I can help bring to them, and they can bring to me. And you are out there leading the InvestHER community, right? I think that's terrific. And I attended your meeting, and it was awesome for me to learn that you are not just doing single family. I thought you all were about single family. So it has been a revelation for me. So please introduce yourself and say something about the things you're doing.
Sure. Yeah. So my name's Liz. I've been investing in real estate for close to 20 years. Which is crazy, and started with a duplex right outside of Philadelphia, read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that got our start. We attended so many RIA meetings, me and my then boyfriend, now husband Matt, and made our first offer and got our start with a loan from my father for $30,000, and that got our start, and then proceeded to invest in New Jersey for many years, and then segued into Pennsylvania. Now we're in about six markets, a couple thousand units, mostly large multifamily. We do have one hotel, but mostly large multifamily, and has syndicated many of our projects on the real estate side. When I left my job, which I was consulting in predictive index, which was a great job, but I needed to kind of move on. I had my first kiddo, 2013, and I felt really alone. I was leading the business with my husband, raising capital, building our empire, if you will, or at that time. And I felt really alone and felt very not sure where I wanted to go with my time and energy. I loved real estate, but something was missing. And around the same time, I met my now business partner, Andressa, and we started meeting on a monthly basis and supporting each other. What do you need? And what have you. We'd go to conferences. We'd be the only women there. So about 8 years ago, we launched InvestHER with the mission that every woman deserves they have the birthright to become financially free, and real estate's one way to get women there. So super passionate. Just 8 years later, just as passionate about our mission. Right. And we serve women. It's a community strategic. Well, it starts with strategic knowledge, then it goes to a high-level network of women and access to the right information with where women are on their path. And, we have a lot of women who are passive, women who are active, but just looking to build their wealth through real estate and other ways, right? Real estate's not the only way. But real estate brings everyone together. But it's about supporting each other and helping each other through that.
Right, and we'll have to get back to some of that because there's a whole lot there. There is many other ways that complement and fit so well. But we're going to come back to that for a couple of reasons because your background with the company called Predictive Index is where I want to go with this. Because when I started the Women in Real Estate group, a lot of the women were like, I don't know my strengths because you want them to know what that is. So we talked about the different ways they could do that, including Predictive Index. And then our next thing was to do a button that says what your strengths are.
Love that.
And another one with what you're looking for.
I love that.
And we're trying to get them to do more and more of that. They've been shy, but
I feel so fortunate. So for about 15 years, I worked for the licensee of Predictive Index in New Jersey. And I mentored under Kathy Frank, her name was, and she worked with Arnold Daniels, who created the tool. So I felt and she was the first woman licensee that he hired, that he allowed to have a license. And I thought that was very special, even well before InvestHER. So I got a chance to really get to know the tool and have an expertise in it in a way that I don't know if I would have ever had. So I feel very fortunate about that. But yeah, over those years, I worked with small companies, large companies, but it's all about building teams and learning what you do, not just good or great, but like, where is your core genius? Yeah. And I think Predictive Index is a wonderful tool to help you do that, whether you're more dominant, less dominant, risk taker, cautious. And when I meet people, to your point, Ginny, I really have this, I'm really fortunate. Like, you start to say, what is this person's strength? What's my strength, and how can we really build a team? And I feel like real estate, especially investing, large multifamily or larger projects, really need a team. You need people that have different strengths. If you're raising capital and you're very people-oriented, you're probably not great at operations, probably. Not that you can't do both, but your strength is one or the other, and you need a team that complements each other. And I feel like so many people don't know what their true core genius is. And core genius includes your strengths, your personality. It also includes what you're passionate about, and what you do exceptional. And so I think a lot of that is formed from our strengths. And so when you own that and know that, then you can go to events and say, hey, can we work together or partner together? But people do that without even knowing that. That's what's frustrating. I don't know if you see that too in your
I do.
With your work.
But one of the interesting things about that meeting that you held, and I was sitting in the front row, and I could watch you look at each person in there, and it's like you could see beyond seeing them. Yeah. And it's probably because you are so familiar with the personality types. Yeah. It's motivating me to read about all the personality types more. It's really interesting.
It's important, and I think it gets dismissed a lot. Yeah. Because we're leaders ultimately, right? We're leading our businesses, and if you don't know that about yourself, and you know where your own blind spots are, you're going to keep running into the same challenges.
So where do we take it from here? How do we bring women up further, faster? Because as you were talking about during the conference, what percent of women are going to own what percent of the wealth here in the next 10 years?
Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's because the baby boomers are the richest, wealthiest generation, and they're transitioning wealth in the next several years. By 2045. $105 trillion is getting passed from one generation to the next. And it's slated that women will control about 70% of that. Right. So it's an incredible number. It's unprecedented. And women are ultimately going to be the financial decision makers, not just their finances, but their investing decisions. Right. And so, and then you start to really dig into all these stats. And the stats are women outperform men. And it goes on. Yet the confidence in investing sometimes can lag, where they're just relying on a financial planner. Nothing against financial planners. They have a place in your financial plan, in your overall, but women really are driving their investment decisions, and the education and the community matters. So it's going to just increase significantly.
So how do we prepare for this dynamic change going on right now with AI, the displacement of workers and this and that, and is there a way that we can help as we teach the different ways to make income, and that there should be multiple ways of making income going on at the same time?
Absolutely. Even beyond real estate, right? There's a whole alternative, so many different alternative investments, and what's working, what's not.
Name some of the ones that you like to work with.
Yeah, I mean, real estate obviously is something that I'm heavily invested in, but I'm diversified from the perspective of we're limited partners in a warehouse in a commercial project. Right. So I'm interesting to be limited partner there. Yeah. We run a lot of different multifamily. We've invested in and worked on a hotel project. So I'm kind of diversified in different projects, and whether it's I'm the GP or the LP. And
any other alts?
Not so much. We've
insurance.
No,
but insurance.
There's probably so many that I can learn about. To be honest, But the other thing too for me is diversifying in active and passive. So for us, we're doing like a ground up construction project locally, where we're controlling it. It's a single family new build, luxury build. And it's just a local project we're managing, not like with a big team. We didn't syndicate it. It's just our own cash that we've invested in. And that to me is diversification because I can control it.
Right.
And I also know the market. But yes, I'm curious about different alternatives myself.
Yeah, right.
Because I know that as we sell different buildings and we look to deploy capital, our own capital, it's important to know everything. And I think that's the biggest thing, Ginny, is that, especially women, I feel like if we don't know everything about something, it's like we get stopped at times. And so that's the big thing that I want to just always share with women is that you don't need to have confidence in everything to be confident. Meaning I can tap your confidence in something that I don't know about because there's a trust, you're supporting me, I'm supporting you, and there's like a level of kind of community.
Exactly.
And I think so often we try to figure it out all by ourselves.
Yep.
It gets overwhelming, so we do nothing. And I think that's the biggest limiting piece. We can't be stopped because we don't know everything. And you shouldn't want to know everything. Just who do I tap and who do I and how do I move forward in a way that works for my life? And that comes down to community.
Yeah. It's that who, not how.
Yeah.
Right. That book is fantastic.
It's a great book.
And yeah, I think that having communities is the solution. So I commend you for doing the InvestHER community and then this Wire group that I'm connected with. I really am feeling like I've been overlooking women. And so it's a big deal. It really is. There's a long ways we can go with it. So I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Yes.
And I want
Thank
to
you
be
for
sure
having
that
me.
we, tell people how they can reach you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're active on Instagram. We actually have a free assessment because we've done literally over 500 episodes. We have created playlists based on what type of InvestHER you are. So it's literally 4 different profiles, free assessment on our website, therealestateinvesther.com. Okay. And with that, you get an action plan. Meaning like, what do I do next based on, am I someone who's a newbie? Am I someone who's more passive? Am I someone who's scaling my portfolio, which we serve a lot of women? And then it gives you kind of like your next 3 steps.
Right.
And then like literally a playlist based on all the podcasts we've done, based on where you are and what stage. And so that would be my, recommendation is just start taking one step. Right. And that's why we put that together, just to give some free resources together.
And I totally forgot, since we're in an unusual place, there's 2 main things I usually do on all my podcasts. One is to ask you to have a takeaway for the listener. If you had them to have one thing that's resounding, what would that be?
I would say to stop underselling yourself. And because women are so amazing, I feel so fortunate to see that in our community, in my life, and women are usually more amazing than they realize and they know they are. So I think underselling yourself doesn't get you or anyone further. Okay. And I see it time and time again, not to be stereotypical, but men oversell themselves, women undersell themselves. And we need to stop doing that so we can build wealth on our own terms. That's number one. But the second thing is take one step towards your goals. Wealth building doesn't happen overnight. Wealth can be very big. Real estate investing, very big. Anything. It doesn't happen overnight. So just one step, one podcast, one connection, one micro step moves it forward. When I get overwhelmed, I'm like, what's one thing I can do so I can move this goal forward? Because I get overwhelmed. I mean, we all do. We all do. So that would be my second thing, is don't undersell yourself and take one micro step towards your goals.
There's one other thing I normally do, and I didn't prime you at all for this, but I ask everybody since I have a Local Legends and Pivotal People series, is there something that happened to you or a person that you know that brought you to where you are today or is propelling you towards some goal? And this gives you a chance to identify a thing potentially or event, but it also gives you a chance to shout out for somebody that's really been pivotal in your life. And if they come on the show, we promote them as a pivotal person. They get a lapel pin that says,
"Oh, that's cool. I like that." Right? Because there are pivotal people.
Yeah.
I think, there's been so many. I feel like Kathy, the woman I mentioned earlier, really was pivotal I learned so much about business and people with her. Until that chapter was closed and, what have you. I would say my business partner comes to mind, Andressa, because her and I are so...
You can have 2.
Yeah, I'll have 2. Sorry.
What's Kathy's last name?
Kathy Frank. Yeah, Kathy Frank. Yeah, she's a lovely woman I'm very grateful for. Andressa Godelli is my business partner and co-founder of InvestHER.
Right.
And I don't know, InvestHER wouldn't be InvestHER without her and I together. And we have bring so many different things to the table, but I've really been very fortunate to build a partnership with her in something we both believe in, and we're so mission-oriented and being different, but having aligned mission. So I'm very grateful for her. She's made me a better person, better leader, and I think that matters, being around people who don't just take your you-know-what, like really help you step up and keep elevating so you can fulfill the missions and the things you want to achieve. You can't do that by being who you were 10 years ago.
Exactly.
So I'm very grateful for that, because I feel like I keep growing and learning and trying to be the best version of myself. And I can't do that. You can't do that alone.
No.
So I give her a big shout out.
Well, and thank you for doing these conferences. And you have another one coming up when?
Yes, we're hosting, InvestHER is hosting our 5th conference, InvestHER Con. It's in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's going to be at a beautiful resort, the Omni. We have women coming across the nation, all very, usually typically active in real estate, but it's a high-level group of women. Last year we had $1.95 billion under management in the room. So these are women collectively, of course, not just one woman, but collectively. And it's it's 2.5 days of real estate, mindset, business, and it's more of a retreat and transformational retreat than a stuffy conference that we often go to. So
terrific.
Love doing it, and love to invite women to come play with us and be there and play in the arena and take your business to the next level with one another.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks
Really
for having
appreciate
me.
it.
Really
You take
appreciate
care.
this.
Okay.